Hey there, welcome to my channel, A More on a Journey. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made this Kiki's Delivery Service pumpkin. I did this a couple years ago as part of a series of pumpkins based on seasons: fall, winter, spring, and for this one is summer. So let's get to it. I will also show an update of what it looks like 2 years later, and I'll show it at the end if you would stay to watch. Spoiler alert, it turns out really well. So for the supplies list, I bought the pumpkins from Michael's Ashland brand 9-inch craft pumpkin. It was a teal color. Acrylic paint for the underpainting, and then Himi Gouache to do the details, and then some paper and pencil and paint brushes. So I started off with Jiji the Cat. I sketched this onto the Arteza 11x14 mixed media paper. Then I ended up pinning this to the pumpkin itself, and I use that with the sewing pin just to kind of give myself where the ears should start, where the head should start, just to give brevity to where I was working on the sketch for the pumpkin. So here I'm sketching a pumpkin out, sketching out Jiji the Cat on there, and this I had to use bright light to be able to see, but it worked out pretty good. Then I painted a purple of lavender color onto the pumpkin as an underpainting, so the gouache would stick better, and it did end up working well. After that, I started painting on the ears. This is with the gouache paint, with the Himi Gouache, and as you can see, I made it a very thick consistency in order for it to show up well. It was looking a little different at first, but with these types of things you have to trust the process. It was looking a little bit like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, but it did end up well, and I'm glad I did the eyes first, as I was able to cover it up with the black part of the Jiji the Cat. So here I'm painting on with the gouache. It's showing the base paint here after I did the black layer. Then I'm going in and adding some fur details to the ears, and you can see I added a little more gradient to the ears here as well with the darker purple. And then for this part, I kind of showed a longer version of how it looks as I'm painting the eye, and right here I am using the black gouache from Himi. If you notice, for Jiji's fur I used a gray color, kind of a matte gray color, so when I did the line art on the eyes and now the nose, it made it stand out more regarding to the eyes and the overall face of Jiji. Now here, when I was painting the whiskers, this shows what happens when you don't have the acrylic underpainting, and one of my lessons learned for this pumpkin art project. So when you put the gouache straight onto the pumpkin, because I think of the craft pumpkin is very slick, it caused it to kind of see how it just kind of doesn't stick to it. It just kind of separated, caused some separation there. So I ended up kind of letting it dry, and then I put another layer, but it still looked a bit streaky there, but it was okay since it was just his whiskers. It ended up looking okay, and then here it is. There's the finished product for this side for Jiji the Cat. Now after this one, I started working on the second side, which shows Kiki and Jiji on the broom flying over the town. So for this side, I didn't do a paper sketch like Jiji. I just went ahead and sketched right onto the pumpkin itself. then after that, I'm using the Daler-Rowney acrylic paint to paint these clouds. And as you can see, I wanted the consistency to be really thick, and it actually worked pretty well. And I ended up just making the clouds from the acrylic paint. If I'd added gouache, I just added it as like a detail to make it a little thicker, but it looked really great with the acrylic paint by itself for this part of the clouds. So for this section of the painting, I added these at the bottom as waves, because this is going to be the ocean that they're going to be flying over. So I added that to kind of give some permeance to the painting. And this is the colors I used for this scheme versus black and purple. I ended up using a blue, green, teal, seafoam green colors for the mountains and the ocean. And for both of these, I painted from reference from the movie. It was very fun. If you check out my channel, you can see I have kind of a Kiki's art theme going on, but I do love that movie. Here I'm showing where I'm mixing that seafoam green with this ultramarine color in the acrylic, and I use that to begin painting the ocean. So one of the challenges with painting on a pumpkin, of course, is that it's not a flat canvas, it is a circular object, and so you kind of had to angle it different ways to get to specific spots that I wanted to paint, especially in the ocean part. But that's why it's essential that if you're going to paint on the other side of the pumpkin, make sure it's completely dry. For this one, I made sure to let Jiji the Cat dry for, I believe, 2 days, and it probably dried before then, but I just rather have been safe than sorry, in case I didn't want it to scratch if I as I was maneuvering the pumpkin to paint this side. I didn't want any scratches or anything to happen, and it did turn out well to let it dry that long, so I would recommend that. So with that, I finished the underpainting, and this is how it looked. This was the mountain and oceans, clouds, a little bit of the ocean waves that I added myself to the reference picture. And yeah, so this is my base. Now I started going in with the Himi Gouache to kind of paint in the town buildings in the city, using a cream color and then this brownish terracotta color for the roofs. And since it was far away in the picture, I kind of wanted to give it a blurry quality, so it could definitely look like it's just in the background. Now I started adding some little highlights onto the ocean of the ocean reflections. Then I started on the sketch of Kiki and Gigi on the broom. I did this by just penciling a sketch right onto the background, and that worked out well. I didn't experience any paint coming up as I sketched on here. It stayed. It was pretty, seemed like it was pretty glued well to the pumpkin. After that, I used black gouache from the Himi Gouache set to paint in their silhouettes. And of course, I had to add Kiki's signature red bow. I wanted to make sure you definitely know who this is. And then that was it. This side was finished. Here it is with the reference, a little cute GIF I had playing in the background. Both sides turned out really well. They were very vibrant using these two colors together of the paint of the acrylic and Himi Gouache. And this is how it looks. I recorded this yesterday. This is 2 years later. It looks like when I painted it. It stayed really well. I did make sure to keep it only indoors. This with gouache, as it's water-based paint, it does reactivate, so this is not something you would want to have outdoors if you're going to use this type of paint. If you use purely acrylic, you might be able to, but to be safe, I would not. I would keep it indoors, keep it in a dry location. And as you can see on this side looked good as well after 2 years. Overall, this was really a fun project to do. I love this one. This is one of my favorite of the pumpkins that I did, and it was just something that was out of the box for me, and it was a bit of a challenge, but I love it, and now I have this little memento that I can keep forever. So thank you so much for watching this video. I will be making this a series to share the process for the 3 other pumpkins that I did for fall, winter, and spring. So if you want to check that out, like and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you in the next video.